profit sharing earner in the company was making about 50,000, maybe 55, half of what I was looking for. And she'd been with the company for 16 years. And I didn't have 30 years, at least the doctors were saying I didn't. And
all right, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of the All-Star Collaborative Podcast. We've got a super special guest with us today, and you're in for an amazing story. He's a total rock star in the real estate world. He's not just a big deal in real estate. He's also my personal mentor. He's dedicated to helping others for decades be able to achieve the same kind of freedom and success. And his story is sure to inspire you as well. His advice and support have been game-changing for me and so many other agents in our community, and I'm super excited for y'all to hear from him as well. So joining us today is none other than the real estate legend himself, Rob Flick. So if I could wave a magic wand, I want to have the same conversation that we had last time, this time, but I know that's not reasonable.
I can't guarantee it. We'll just see what happens.
All right. So where do you want to start? You want to talk about your past and like a little history and how, even though you were so incredibly successful, you decided to dive into this opportunity?
I initially got my license in 1983, and I was with Coldwell Banker Commercial, doing quite well. Actually, in my division, I got Rookie of the Year. I was in the top 20 rated, thought I was, had it made. And then I discovered that I had cancer and was not expecting that, and went into the hospital, and the doctor said, I've got good news and bad news. And I said, having been a rugby player, I said, I can take it. What's the bad news? And he said, you've got cancer. It doesn't look good. It looks like it might have spread. And I said, what's the good news? And he said, I have your schedule for surgery in the morning. And so I went in for surgery, and I spent the next 5 years, in and out of hospitals, tests, multiple surgeries, and lost everything and went bankrupt. I couldn't work. I couldn't go perform. Everything I had was active income. As long as I was there showing up, doing something, I got paid. If I didn't show up, I didn't. So because of that, I lost everything. And when I say everything, I mean, I was in a 8,500 square foot home. I had an indoor swimming pool, sliding glass doors, 5-car garage, beautiful place, traveling. I just thought life was, I thought I had it done, and then all of a sudden, bang, never saw this cancer thing coming, lost everything. And so while I was in the hospital, one of the things that I thought of a lot was I need to develop a residual or a passive income stream. Not huge, massive. I didn't care about rich or wealthy. I just wanted at that time, this is now almost 40 years ago, $100,000 a year, which whatever 100,000 40 years ago is worth today, that's what I was looking for. And I said, that's all I need to live full time. And I wasn't interested in rich or wealthy. I just wanted to live for the time that I had left, and I didn't know how much it was. And I wanted to spend time. I had adopted a little girl, or I did, coming up. And once I adopted her, I wanted to spend as much time with her as I could. So it really inflamed my desire to develop a passive and residual income. And the only thing that I knew at the time was, get a bunch of rental properties, but that required lots of income, and I didn't have any. I just come out of bankruptcy, so I had nothing, wasn't working. I mean, it was bad news. And so in 1997, I ran across Keller Williams, and they had a profit sharing program, and I thought that was interesting. And the number one profit sharing earner in the company was making about 50,000, maybe 55, half of what I was looking for. And she'd been with the company for 16 years, and I didn't have 30 years, at least the doctors were saying I didn't. And so I needed to get this done quick. So I flew to Austin, Texas to meet with her. Her name was Althea. And to ask her questions about the system and what it worked, and find out if it was even possible to make 100,000, because no one had made half that in only one person in 16 years. And so I asked her lots of questions. And one of the questions I asked her was how many people she'd personally enrolled. And it turned out she'd enrolled 12. And I thought, 16 years, you enrolled 12 people personally. And I thought, and those people enrolled others, enrolled others, enrolled others. And 16 years later, that 12 turned into like 1,000. And, but I said, why did you only enroll 12? And she said, this was the thing that really changed everything in my mind. She says, because I never thought about it. It was never part of my business plan. It just happened sort of haphazardly. And we really didn't know where it was going to go or how big it was going to get. So we didn't really put much credence to it, if you will, right? It wasn't until later that they realized, wow, this could be big. And I said to her, bro, relax, Althea. I think this is the worst it's ever going to be. Things are going to change. I got excited because I thought, what if someone actually made it part of their business plan? What if it was, I'm not just selling houses, but I'm going to enroll a certain number of agents a month, just like certain number of listings a month that I wanted to get. And my goal was 2 a month. And they had a 3-year vesting period. So I planned on being with them for 3 years. I was with a company called Realty Executives, which I really, really liked at that time, because when it looked like I was going to live from the cancer, I had moved back into a bedroom in my parents' house, from an 8,500 square foot house to a 10 by 10 bedroom in my parents' house. And when it looked like I was going to live, my mom said, okay, it's time for you to go do something and get a job and get busy, right? And so I said, yeah. And so I was looking around and I found this company, and I thought, okay, I can sell houses. And I just wanted to sell two houses a month. It was no big deal for me. If I can get 2 listings, I spent all my time and effort to get 2 listings. And my goal was to get 72 people personally enrolled. What does that mean? That means 2 agents a month for 3 years, 36 months, 72 total. 72 agents personally enrolled, which was 6 times as many as Althea. And I figured that had to create $100,000. And that was as big as my business plan went back then. Right. And so I started on the 4th of July, 1997. I joined the company, and I started, and I had to do, I compared it to me getting listings, right? Because I had to do 8 to 10 listing appointments to get 2 listings a month. I wasn't the best. I wasn't technically, just like getting onto this thing. I almost didn't get on, and I'm still non-technical. Unfortunately, I have people now, right? But I don't do that. And I had to do 8 to 10 listing presentations, which took about an hour each to get 2 listings a month. And I was very happy with that. That was my number. So I figured I'd probably have to do the same thing. And I'd probably have to show 6 to 10 or 8 to 10 realtors the presentation a month to get 2 to join. And so I started doing that. And I started in July. And by Christmas of that year, I'd actually enrolled 30, way more than I had thought. And actually, it got me Recruiter of the Year nationwide back then. And I didn't even know they had that. I didn't care. I was in it for the money. And those 30 agents that I personally enrolled, they were not necessarily interested in recruiting. They wanted to sell more houses and make more money. But I said, you guys know people that I don't know. And so if you tee them up and set it up so I can meet with them, I'll talk to them. I'll convince them to join. And if they join, then you'll be their sponsor. And since I sponsored you, it'd be a win-win. We'd both win, right? Because they had the same structure, 7 levels. And so I worked hard at doing that. And before you know it, so between that July and that Christmas, those 30 agents that I had enrolled through them, another 120. So we had 150 agents in 6 months. And apparently that had never been done before, so we were told. And so Keller was flying me all over the country to talk to his other franchisees about how to do it and how to make this thing go, because no one had ever gotten 150 agents in 6 months, and from start, just paying. Mm-hmm. And so then I just kept on building. And before you knew it, my profit sharing at Keller was $5,000 a month, then it was 10, then it was 15,000, then it was 20, then it was 25, and I retired. And at the time when I retired, I think I was getting about about 25,000 a month, something in that neighborhood, and that was well. And so I basically retired, and I've been getting that residual income from Keller for about 22 years. We traveled, we went all over, had at that time, and it was enough to live on. And I've been getting that, like I said, for over 20 years, still get it today. And they tell me I'm the 13th highest paid person in the history of Keller Williams profit sharing, still to this day. I'm told that,
Crazy.
and which is kind of incredible that nobody passed me because I didn't do anything for 18, 19, almost 20 years, and nobody has passed me. In fact, I went from number 14 worldwide to number 13, so I'm told. And but then about 8 years ago, maybe nine, a good friend of mine, Frederick, um, I saw him. I knew him from Keller. He owned a region. He was a regional owner. He owned several franchises or parts of several. And we had been friends, played golf, sort of knew each other a little bit. And I heard that he had sold everything and left Keller. And I thought maybe he'd retired and we'd get to travel together, play golf or something like that. And he said to me, yes, he had left Keller. He'd sold everything, but he was getting started on this new real estate project. He said that called EXP that I'd never heard of. And he said, it's perfect for you. You'd be really great at this. And I said, Gene, I'm a solid no. Thank you very much. But, I get several $100,000 a year from what I did with Keller 20, a long time ago. And I just don't have the desire whatsoever. And he said, this is different, Rob. He said, this really, truly is going to change the real estate industry. And I said, well, why would I want to do it? And he said, well, twofold. Number one, you were one of the few people that actually got free that could live on their profit sharing, right? And could do it for almost 2 decades. And number one, so you'll be able to get your friends free and not just you. And he said, if you do the same thing at EXP that you did at Keller, then you'll make 5 to 10 million instead of 300,000. You'll make 5 to 10 million a year. And I had a hard time believing that, but I said, okay, well, fine. All right, show me, thinking, wow, this could be really something. I mean, I had developed with Keller, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Alaska, Northern California, and, quite a bit. And so he showed this to me literally out on his porch. We started at 11:30. I jokingly say this now, but it truly was a stormy night. It was raining, and he didn't take paper. He took a stack of napkins with him, and he was drawing, the information on the napkins, and the napkins were getting blown away and whatever. And the reason I followed him out to the porch, I'd been avoiding him for about 4 days, and I was at his lake house and, drinking his wine, riding on his boat, driving his jet skis, eating his food, all that stuff. And he wanted to show me this. And I was really kind of trying to avoid seeing EXP, right? Because I said, I'm truly a no. And so finally what he did was he grabbed a bottle of scotch and 4 cigars and said, follow me, you're going to see this. And I just saw the scotch and the cigars. So I followed him out to the porch. And then he continued to do his napkin presentation on 30 something napkins, and they were flying all over the place. And I, was trying to catch them. I said, I'll never remember the order they're in. I don't know how I remember any of this stuff, but it seemed really, really interesting. And so I went and told my wife, I said, you know what? I kind of like what Gene is onto. I think I want to do that. I think I'm ready to do something. And she said, I figured, and she said, what's in it? What's in it for us if you do? And I said, well, we're going to have to slow down our travel schedule a bit because I'm going to be working for 3 years. It's the same vesting period, 3 years. And I said, but Gene says if I do the same thing, and I did a lot of Gene says during those first couple of years.
I bet you did.
Yeah. And he said, if I do the same thing, at EXP that I did at Keller, it'd be 5 to 10 million instead of 300. And she took a nanosecond and said, yeah, I think you should do this, So I go, okay. So anyway, we flipped a coin. She won. So she got the license and we put everything in her name. And then, so she's the sponsor and I just became the talking mouth, the recruiter, the talker, the chatter, the sharing the information. I never felt like I was recruiting. I always felt like I was sharing good news. I felt like I was sharing, great stuff, something that could really enhance the realtors. And I was shocked when people, some people said no. And, but it continued on. And within a couple of years, my rev share, the difference in, rev share as far as EXP is concerned, Keller, the way the two systems are so different in that at the Keller side, the money comes into the franchise and then they pay all the bills. And if there's anything left over, they kind of cut that in half and give half to the franchise owner because they have the risk and the money. And the other half goes to the agent profit sharing pool that goes to pay the agents that referred the agents who did the deals during that month. As long as there's profit, there's no profit sharing. And so you never knew what you were going to get, and you could have 150 agents in an office, and if it didn't make money, you got nothing, right? So at EXP, because it's virtual, the revenue share is off the top. It is the overhead, okay, and 50% of the money that comes in, to EXP from the agents is paid out in revenue share. We can know exactly what you're going to make by what people that you've enrolled have done and the people they've enrolled. We can tell you literally to the penny what you're going to get, what you're going to earn, which we could never do before. And so when I saw that, the numbers that I looked at was, wow, this is 20 to 30 times more for the same effort, it was on a scale that was hard to imagine, but I never saw the thing of being virtual. And that was a really big deal. And so my goal when I first started, I thought, if I could make, because we get, the way, I looked at it was EXP's got an 80-20 split, right? And so, so in other words, let's say you sponsored me and I sold a house. I'd pay my 20% to the company just until you pay 16,000, you cap, right? Our cap is 16 grand. So you pay, I'd pay my 20% because we're all 80-20, and you would get 3.5% as the of the 20% that I sent in. You would get 3.5%, and the company would get 16.5, right? And you do that up until I capped, and you could make a decent amount of money. So if you're going to make 3% of the gross, then what I figured was I was trying to be very, very conservative. I said I will come aboard if I can make $500,000 a year, right? If it looks like it's possible for me to make an additional $500,000, then it's going to be worth my time, right? I mean, that's how I thought. And so I looked at this and said, all right, if an agent that I enroll sells $1 million worth of real estate and they do it at 3%, I mean, they could do it up more or less, whatever, but I just use that as a number, 3%. 3% of $1 million is 30,000. And we get from the system, because they pay the 20%, 3.5% of that 30,000. Well, 3.5% of 30,000 is a little over $1,000. So I said, all right, I'm going to be real conservative, and I'm going to say that I'm not going to bring any agents over that sell more than 1 million, and in some markets that's one house. Some markets is two houses, some markets is three, some markets is four, depending on where your market is, but it's not very many houses a year, right? So I was going to be very conservative. So I'm going to I called it, my mediocre team. I said, I'm going to develop this mediocre team that nobody sells more than $1 million worth of real estate. They're only making 30 grand. Half of them are living in a van. They just don't have much. And I figured I'm going to just be really, really on edge, right? And because I didn't know any big players. I hadn't been in real estate for 15 to 20 years, so I didn't know anybody or anything. And I had no sphere to call on. And so I figured if I can make $1,000 per agent per year, I need 500 agents to create $500,000 a year. And how is it going to do that? I said, well, my experience at Keller was if I got 25 agents on my front line, right, then in time, those 25 would bring an additional 50. They would double. In other words, 25 in my front line, level one, tier one, then tier two would have 50. And those 50 on tier two in time would refer 100 that would be on tier three. And those 100 would refer 200. And I said, if I do that, that'll get to 500 agents that way. I need 25 front line. And I think it would probably take 3 years. That's what I guessed. It would take 3 years. Mm-hmm. And so, and I was willing to do that. I said, and plus they had a vesting period of 3 years anyway. So I wanted to get it done and be out, And so I began doing that. Well, it turns out it only took me 7 months to get 500. It went way faster than I ever thought. And because it was that amazing. So we not only had revenue share, but, you earn stock, and crazy on every deal you had the opportunity to earn stock if you want, and voluntarily. And then we also had healthcare, and we had lead generation software that, was thousands of dollars that the company paid for. They invested in the agents, and because of that, literally today, 8 years later, EXP sells more houses, more residential property, more real estate properties deals than any other company in the United States for the last 2 years running. And 8 years ago, we had 400 agents. Today, we've got in the neighborhood of 90,000 plus or minus, as I hear the numbers. I'm not sure, something around that. And And so I started looking for people that would do it. And so my whole goal was to enroll 2 agents a month, 2 agents a month, so 24 a year. Well, I didn't do that. My first year, I enrolled 20. Uh, I didn't. I think it was 20. I did not hit 24. And then my second year, I enrolled like 21. The third year, 22. But I didn't hit my goal. I was such a failure. But what happened was within a couple of years, my revenue share started exceeding six figures a week. I mean, that was like, whoa, I had no idea. It got way beyond 500,000, a year. And then
Right.
I started helping other agents do the same. And then before you know it, I had other agents that were making five figures, six figures, a few seven figures. And it just kept building and building and building, and today I'm told overall, I've got some 70, 75,000 agents, something like that overall, of which around 20,000 agents that I get an override on the system. And I'm the first agent. I was the one, claim to fame, the first agent at EXP to achieve 20,000 agents in their first 7 levels, right? Now it's been done again because my best student, actually, one of the guys on my team, Brent Go, has done it as well. So now there's two of us, and there's going to be more and more because there's other people that are moving towards that target. And I still say to this day, I believe that the most successful, biggest business builder may not even be part of the company yet because we have around 90,000 agents. I'm told there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 million agents in the United States. So that's just a small percentage. And worldwide, there's something like 20 million real estate people. And so we're now open, my understanding is, throughout the United States and 24 other countries and expanding, beyond that. And so now the lifestyle that we have been able to create for ourselves is, millions of dollars a year. And now we've helped people individually, people I personally enrolled, to make millions of dollars a year as well. And, so that when I share this with agents, I go, you don't have to make millions like we do. It's okay. I mean, we'll help you do it if you want. Right. But it's not necessary. What I found was a lot of people's lives will be dramatically affected. And we've helped thousands of people do this to making an extra $1,500, $2,000, $2,500, $3,000, $4,000 a month on top of their commission, on top of their stock that they're earning. And it's exciting to know that we've been able to have such a positive effect on thousands of people, thousands of families, actually, you obviously being one of them. Yeah, you've told us
Thank
that
you.
many times,
Thank you.
and so that's exciting, and I believe that is not unrealistic for us to be able to have 1 million real estate agents worldwide, which would be about 5% of the realtors worldwide, and I think that's doable. I think 5% is not an unrealistic number. I think it even is possible 10%, but 5% I'll take, 1 million. And it's what's exciting to see is people with much more talent than me coming aboard, people that are seriously successful, unbelievable, done more than I've ever done, ever. But I like leverage. I like, somebody had said, I think it was, I don't know, one really, really rich guy said, I'd rather earn, 1% of 100 people than 100% of the best one,
Yeah.
because, just things change and to leverage yourself and to diversify. And so I'm all about that. And so everything that I think about all the time now is, what is your dream? Where do you want to go? What do you want to be? What do you want to do? What does it cost to create your 10 plus life? Your dream life. What would it cost? And I can be able to sit someone down and say, I can show you exactly what it'll take to be able to finance that. And that's fun to me when I'm able to get with a couple, and say, what would you like your dream life to be? And what do you think that might cost on a monthly basis, or an annual basis? And most people have never thought about that. I said, well, let's play the what if game. What if it was possible? What if you could do that? And they would say, well, I'd do this, I'd have that, I'd move, I'd do something different. If time and money was no object, what would you do? And they would tell me, and I said, well, let's see what that would cost. And we can figure realistically what that would cost, without boats and yachts and jets and stuff like that. I mean, forget that, just sort of, life. What would it cost for you to live completely free? Financially free, where you had no financial worries whatsoever, and you had a constant, increasing, growing income and business. That is, by the way, transferable, willable to your children. Hello, that's a huge thing. That's a very, very big thing. And I can be able to sit down with them and show them exactly how many agents that they will need to have based on, minor sales projections, and I go, it's as simple as that. And I know that can be done. I have total belief because I've helped hundreds of people do this. Right. And we're living it. My wife and I travel all over the world. We do what we want. We pay a ton of taxes. I will tell you that. And we're big supporters of the United States and free economy, that kind of thing. It's really, really great. And now we're starting to be able to affect families and real estate agents around the world in other countries too, and they have just the same kind of feelings about their country as we do in ours. And now we're able to enhance people worldwide, which is so very, very, very exciting. And in the beginning, we had just moved to Texas. We didn't know anybody. And so I had a landlord, his name is Wilco, and he asked me how we made our money because really our lifestyle was pretty incredible. And so I shared with him this program, and he said, "Do you mean that if I was a real estate agent and I could do the same thing you were talking about, and you'd teach me, and you're the top person or one of the top people worldwide?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "I'd be foolish not to." So he, of course, had his license. He started working, and today Wilco makes multiple X what he ever made before. Now he's a full-time dad. He travels. He's done. His lifestyle is kind of incredible, and he taught me because I was looking for realtors. I would say, "Hi," when I first got started, I had this 3-foot rule, and I said, "Hey, how are you? My name's Rob. I'm new to the area. What's your name?" And they would say, "Well, I'm so-and-so." And I said, "Have you lived here long?" And they say, "Well, I don't really live here. I live somewhere else." I said, "Okay, what's it like there?" Blah, blah, blah. And I said, "What is it you do for a living? You look kind of, successful a little bit. And you got some nice clothes, no holes, And they would say, and he said, "Well, I'm a so-and-so." And I go, "Really? How long have you been being a so-and-so?" And he said, "Well, it's so many years." And I said, "Are you still as excited about it today as you were when you first got started? I mean, do you still wake up and go, 'Oh, wow, I can't wait to go do so-and-so?'" And a lot of people were not, and a lot of people said, "No, I'm just waiting, until I can finally quit it." I said, "Well, what's your exit plan? What are you going to do? And I would love to say to people, I've heard that millionaires have at least 7 income streams, right? 7 different income streams. I said, "Tell me, what are your top 4?" And they would go, "Well, I have a wife that works." That's one. No,
I don't like that plan.
Count, and I found a lot of people had no plan. They had no exit plan. They had no retirement plan. They just hoped someday it would happen, and it just doesn't work that way. And so I would get together with them, and I'd say, "Well, do you consider yourself successful at what you do?" And they go, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, do you consider yourself a success? Right? Or do you figure you're a failure?" And some people say, "Well, I could probably do better, but I'm okay." And I said, "Okay, well," and they said, "Why do you ask?" And I said, "The reason I ask is this is what I would tell them me. I said, I'm in the real estate industry and I'm expanding my business, my real estate world to this area. And I'm looking for some referrals. And what I found was successful people refer me successful realtors and homeless people refer me homeless realtors. And I don't want those. I'm looking for successful realtors. So that's why I asked, do you consider yourself a success?" And they would say yes. And so, and if they weren't a realtor, I'd say, "Okay, well, nice meeting you." Well, Wilco said, "Why don't you ask them if they know a realtor? Everybody knows a realtor." And I go, "Brilliant." And so now from then on, I said, most successful people, they know an accountant, they know a lawyer, they know a landscaper, they know a cleaning company, and they know a real estate agent. They just do. So if you're considered yourself successful, then you probably know a realtor. And I'm looking for those who got it going on. And so they would say, "Yeah, well, I know Sherry or so-and-so or whatever it was." And I'd say, "Okay." But so then I would call Sherry and say, "Hey, Sherry, my name's Rob Flick. You don't know me. I know your friend Tom. He says you're the bomb in real estate. I'm looking to talk to someone in the area about real estate. He says you're it. Can we get together and have coffee and talk about it?" And 9 times out of 10, they would say, "Sure." Every so often, one of them would say, "Why? What do you want to talk about?" And I go, "Well, real estate, that's what I said." And they go, "What exactly do you want to talk about?" I said, "Nothing with you. Thanks. Bye." run away, and I would just leave them, right? And so I didn't do that. But most people were friendly. I was looking for friendly, open energy that I could explain something. And I knew that once I explained and shared this information, then you can't unsee it. And you're gonna think about it, you're gonna see it, and you're gonna, I wonder if I could have had a shoulda, that kind of thing.
Right.
And so I just wanted to share it with as many people as possible and to see their reaction. It was kind of like a game with me. And then it got to the point where, I'm doing this and I'm very successful, now, and I'm making, say, several $1,000,000 a year. And I talk to someone and they say, well, I don't think so. And I go, what? Do you know what I've done? Do you know who I am? Do you know how many people I've helped? I mean, hello, boom, what? That's how I feel. I don't say that, you idiot. I just say, dude,
I'll say it for you, you idiot.
You need to see this again, so anyway, it got to the point where we now have hundreds of agents that are joining every month, whether I wake up or bed out or not. We've reached what Malcolm Gladwell says is the tipping point, and don't really have to do anything anymore, and it just keeps getting better and better. And so what I decided here, and what's fortunate that happened, was because 3 years ago now, I had some really serious health issues. I had a triple bypass. I've got what is this thing called? A pacemaker.
Pacemaker.
Yeah, to kind of slow me down. And, really. And so for 2 years, I really couldn't do anything again. Unfortunately, and I call it building a financial safety net. Most people don't have that financial safety net. So if they have something real problem, that they get devastated. And the last time this kind of thing happened to me, I went bankrupt. But this time, because I had this residual money that was coming in because I built my financial safety net in advance, it didn't even affect us at all. In fact, our income went up, during that period of time. And so I'm, back in, and so about a year ago, I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to go do it again. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, people have said, I've started hearing people say, it's too late. Everybody's in, you're going to be successful or not. If you don't join EXP now, you're going to, it's too late. The opportunity has gone by, it's gone. And I thought, you're crazy. We're hardly getting started. We're just a pimple on a dog's butt, the number of people that we have. Really very, very small, and I mean, out of 20 million people, we don't even have 100,000. The
Right.
opportunity is huge, not to mention all the people that get their real estate license every year. Some of them survive, and so there's more and more, that are going. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna show people it's not too late. I'm going to show people that it's better than ever. It can be done, and if you just have belief and excitement, and you put the action together, right? You work together with someone, you get a mentor that believes in you, that will help and work with you, and that you believe in that mentor, and you believe in the product or service that you're doing. It could be really in any industry, but in this case, it's real estate. Right. Go with someone who's gone before, right? And so I said, I'm going to do it again. So in the last 16 months now, because I started February of last year. So February, then February, March, April, May. So for 16 months, in 16 months, Jen and I, we've personally enrolled 41 agents, of which 16 of them have become what we call FLQA, qualifying, that are selling real estate, right? About 1/3, a little more than 38%, I think.
More than 20.
Yeah. And so what's incredible is that we're now maxing out the compensation plan. We're excited about it. And now I get an override on all those 20,000 people, and it's just kind of, it's an unbelievable blessing that's happened. Well, now what's happened is I'm helping all this whole new crew coming in. People say, I can't get anybody to sit down or listen. Well, I got 41 of them to join. Hello. I'm nothing different or special. The only thing is I have belief, and I take action, and I do it consistent, persistent, and most of the time I'm very pleasant, right? And that's really where it happens. And so I said, okay, I'm going to start again. And I designed a program called the Wealth Chart. The Wealth Chart, which literally is a great way to set up your goals, to set up, the kind of money you need, how many agents you need to do, and a follow-up system. And I did a little video in 2017. That was a 26-minute video that shows how to go from zero to $500,000 in revenue share, and to do it in 3 years or less with 4 hours a week. And the ideas and the principles are exactly the same. The numbers have changed, of course, but the ideas, principles, and activities exactly the same, no different. And so I said, I am going to take my wealth chart. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to draw a whole new one on the back. And if you go to YouTube and you search Rob Flick Wealth Chart Training,
it's actually on my website.
Oh, cool. Okay. Then you can get that. You watch that. You can see exactly what I did. And I show you exactly what I did month by month to be able to achieve that the first month. And I think I show, the four people, a couple of other examples of some of the people I helped and where they're at, what they're doing now. Um, and so I said, I'm going to do the same thing. And I designed that wealth chart because there was a guy that I knew would be incredible. Today he's got over 5,000 agents. He enrolled them, and he's brought over 5,000 agents to the company. But he couldn't grasp how it worked. When I talked about it verbally, and I said, I've got to create some sort of visual key, some visual cue to be able to have him see it and get it like that. And I was visiting him in San Antonio and staying in his guest room, and all night long I stayed up trying to figure. And I finally got something put together, and I showed him the next day, and he goes, "Makes total sense. I get it." And I decided to use that to showing it for everybody, and it really became a staple worldwide for EXP agents, right? The wealth chart. And it really shows, it tracks your progress. It shows you what to follow up with, who to follow up with, what to say, what not to say, what to do, what not to do, scripts and dialogues, everything. It's really pretty awesome. And now what's happening is I'm enrolling more people than I've ever enrolled before, ever. And I think I'll probably enroll another 40 or 50 between now and the end of the year. And knowing that it is agents out there are looking, they're hungry. You just got to know what they're looking for, find out what their need, want, or desire is, find out what their pain point is, and then fix it for them. Almost like you're a doctor. When you're sick, how do you feel? Well, I recommend you do this kind of thing, and so I'm always looking to be able to enhance other people's life, their other people's business if possible. And the biggest thing is really helping them believe in themselves that it's doable, that anybody can do this. And now, because EXP just made several changes to the compensation plan, the enhancements are now you are literally because there's no qualification for get paid in the first three levels now, right? 1, 2, and 3. So you literally are one person away from a six-figure income, one real estate agent away. If you enroll one, and that agent enrolls 10, and those 10 enroll 10, and if they only do $1 million, that's $100,000 a year. And just bang, and you enrolled one. And if you enrolled one like me, and I've enrolled now in 6 years, 150. I've enrolled 150 agents. Sounds like a lot, but it's less than 2 a month. And people are out there working their tails, selling 3 and 4 listings a month. I've never done that many, and yet I make significantly more money than they do, right? And it's because of the duplication effect. It's because of leverage that you don't have when you're listing. I'm not saying don't sell houses. I'm saying sell houses as much as you can, because that's right now money, and the passive income, the residual, the rev share is future money, is future freedom, is lifestyle, is that kind of thing, and it gives you more choices, more things that you want to do. And I just wanted to see the world. I wanted to become, a gentleman. I was able to buy my daughter a horse farm. And she just loves horses, and now she takes care of 26 horses, and she's working her tail off morning, noon, night. And she says, "Wow, I've never worked this hard in my life, and I love it." And what's exciting is to be able to see and do things for your children, to be able to help them live within their passion. She's been involved with horses since she was 4 years old. She's 33 years old now. She's been dealing with horses almost 30 years, and she just totally loves it. And to be able to support her is a blessing, an unbelievable fulfillment for me. And I like being able to do that. And we have a son that we're going to do the same type of thing for him when he finally figures out what it is he's going to do and where. Then we'll do that. And it's exciting to know that you have the ability to build generational wealth, and that's exciting to me to know that if you get the right, and anybody can do this. They just have to, be pleasant, follow the system. It's a proven system. It works 100% of the time. It may take you longer than other people, and many times that's because you're getting paid back for what people think of you over the last 10 or 20 years, right? If your sphere is very strong, if people know, like, and trust you, if they think your success, if they believe in you, people will follow you quicker than if, wow, this person's never succeeded in anything. He kind of smells bad. I don't know if he even takes a shower. I'm kidding, of course, but you got to work on yourself. I tell people all the time, if it's not happening for you, most of the time you need self-improvement, the big mind of self-improvement. Start reading positive mental attitude books. Start hanging with people that are where you want to be, if they'll let you hang with them, and start duplicating success habits of successful people. But be very careful who you listen to, because if you listen to the wrong people, you'll end up having what they have. So you've got to really check the fruit on the tree, make sure that they have the lifestyle. It's not, faked, and they have the income and they have the relationships, that kind of thing that you want to have, and then just, emulate and duplicate.